Okay, here we go. Let's have a look at this video here. Okay, maybe you don't know what is going on here. Let me explain to you what's going on here. This is a man, this is a woman, this is the wife who caught, I wish we see the car. Go back to where they things are. Yeah. Okay, that is the wife who caught the husband in their car with another woman. That's just a jealous woman, right? A jealous wife. So she was so destroyed and damaged and hurt that this is how she was. I think there is another story. The one I said we should do. Let's do it again. It's not the same. Okay, I thought it was similar. Yeah, but it's a similar thing. That's what I mean. There is another story like that. But this is what happened to women when they find their husband cheating on them. And some people kill their husbands. Some people, we have a case right now in Nigeria where a wife killed the husband. I mean, not two cases. I've had, in the last 2 months, in the last 1 month, I had 2 cases of wives killing their husbands because they cheated. Now, why? Who wants to comment? Who wants to comment on that? Why will a woman go to the extent, just remove the sound and let it play? Why will a woman go to the extent of behaving like this publicly just because the husband cheated on her? Or why will a woman find gun, and men do this too, go and find a gun and kill the wife or kill the husband? It's not just because of love. That is now an irrational love, I tell you. It is now an irrational love when, that is a wife beating the husband. That is now an irrational love when a woman gets to that extent. It's not just love anymore. It has become irrational love. Let's look at another one. I heard that in Germany today, something like that also happened. What happened in Germany? Is it the husband that killed the wife or the wife that killed the husband in Germany? You see, when people cannot control their reactions like that, it means they had idolized that man. They had worshipped that man or that woman. Let's see another example here. Can you just start it all over again? Let's just let it make bigger. And then develop.
Yes, fine. Yeah. Is this what you do to your husband? Yeah. How do you hit your husband? Just here. I can't breathe.
You know what is happening there, right? You know what's happening there? Irrational love always leads to, where is it? Irrational love always leads to hatred, you see. That's what we have just seen there now. Irrational love leads to hatred. So you begin to hate because it failed you, you see. If you can't retain it, him, you begin to hate him. But sometimes even that hatred is salvation. Because all those things that happen, the goal of it, or all those tragedies, is to bring people back to true love, who is God. Because when you begin to hate each other, then you are forced to come back and concede to God. When you begin to lose each other, you are forced to return back to God. When you begin to, even kill each other, you are forced to return to find the real love, with the source of life, who is God. So all these things, even irrational love, why does it always become hatred? So that you don't replace these things, this love with God. So that this one doesn't become the God in your life. So that you can still find your way back to God. So most of us actually today, we came to God and we, just because of some kind of disappointment and failure in life, and that all is now what led us to know God. So that irrational love, as bad as it is the aim and the goal of it is to later attach you back to the real source. So that you stop making man your source and you begin to make God your source. So you begin to hate because it failed you, you cannot retain it. The more tied you are to a child or to a husband or to work or to job or to money, the more the possibility of that child hating you. That's what we saw in the beginning with that video. Or running away from you eventually. Okay, we have another video, right? Or we did it already. Okay, let's have another video here. Death is another possibility. Oh, that place of love belongs only to God. No one should replace God, you see. That's why these things happen, because that place of love belongs to God and no one should replace him. So let's have a look at another video here and see how this could also help us. So irrational love will always end up in hatred or loss or in death. Okay, here we go.
And now we turn to a story that challenges our ideas about foreign adoption, parental responsibility, and what you do if you're desperate. A Tennessee mother has returned the 7-year-old son she adopted from Russia, sending him back alone. And now outraged Russian officials want to halt adoptions to U.S. families, period. Juju Chang on this wrenching dilemma.
He arrived in Moscow Thursday, alone and exhausted after flying halfway around the world. Bewildered 7-year-old Artem Savelyev swarmed by cameras, sparking international outrage. He carried this note from his adopted mother back in Tennessee. "I adopted this child," wrote 32-year-old single mother Tori Hansen. "He is violent and has severe psychopathic issues. I was lied to and misled by the Russian orphanage. And after giving my best to this child, I'm sorry to say that for the safety of my family and myself, I no longer wish to parent this child." Hansen adopted Artem 6 months ago, but her family says the boy's hitting, kicking, spitting began to escalate. He drew pictures of the family's house on fire. So this week, the boy's adoptive grandmother flew him from his home in Shelbyville, Tennessee, to Washington, checked him in as an unaccompanied minor, and sent him off alone on the 10-hour flight to Moscow. Today, Russian President Dmitry Medvedev told ABC's George Stephanopoulos the incident is both illegal and immoral.
It's monstrous on the part of his adoptive parents to take the kid and virtually throw him out over the plane.
And Medvedev noted that more than 15 Russian children have been killed in recent years by their adoptive American parents. Parents like Peggy Sue Hilt, who's serving 17 years in prison for beating to death her 2-year-old daughter Nina from Siberia.
"I didn't mean to hurt her."
Adoption lawyers say young Artyom's story is a truly unusual case of child abandonment. Americans adopt 1,600 Russian children every year.
Adoption is not child rental. This woman was responsible for the kid for the rest of his life.
Joyce Sturkle has worked for 15 years with Russian-born children whose adoptions are deeply troubled.
There's a certain percentage of these children who are adopted that are severely impaired. If they were adults, we would call them sociopaths.
Now this boy has told Russian officials that his adopted mother was abusive and pulled his hair, and the U.S. State Department has asked a Tennessee sheriff to investigate. But so far, Diane, the mother has not been questioned. There have been no charges.
I know you're going to explore these issues further tonight.
Stop. Now, adoption, these are two cases here. One mother returned the son that she had adopted, and one other mother killed the son that they had adopted. You know why? It's not, in this case, it's not because the children were idolized, but it is the desire and the pleasure that is, it is idolization of pleasure and desires. So those women, that woman, come, let's say you are the one adopting the child. You had a desire in your mind, and your desire is that that child that you are adopting will give you pleasure. So you are actually worshiping pleasure in this case. You are worshiping your desire. You are worshiping the desire for pleasure. Because you took that child to fulfill and meet your need for pleasure.
Okay, so
and since that child was not bringing pleasure,
now he's fault.
yeah, now it's guilty, you have to kill it or return it.
So it's not about of having child, it's about having pleasure.
I love myself. I get the child to pleasure me. That's why some people marry. I get a wife to pleasure me. If she cannot pleasure me, now problem starts. She has to listen to me. She has to do what I wish for her to do. So that is another kind of worship, another kind of irrational love or idealization of things. When I get a human being to do what I want to be, to fulfill my own pleasure, I'm an idol worshiper. I am worshiping not you. You are not important. You are just to pleasure me. I am the God of my life. My desires for pleasure for myself is the God here. So if you cannot cope, if you cannot do what I got you for, then problem starts. So that's what happened with that child too.
And the children and the husband and wives can be only instruments in this case.
Yes.
It doesn't matter who it will be.
Yeah.
Or adopt a child, or your own child,
Yeah.
or your wife, or
Yeah.
your husband.
Yeah.
If it's everything about you.
If you are worshiping pleasure, if you are worshiping your desire, then you just want to use all other people to fulfill that desire. That desire becomes your God. And because that child couldn't fulfill the desire, the woman killed the child. And in this case, the woman returned the child back. Mm-hmm. Because the desire that she wanted to be fulfilled is not being met.
It's about expectations.
Yeah, it's about worshiping of your desire. It's about making your desire your God. It's about loving yourself. And that's why Jesus said that if you don't deny yourself, you cannot follow God. You cannot become Jesus' disciple. You don't live for yourself. You are supposed to take a child because you want to give more to the child. You want to give love to the child. That's why you adopt a child, not because you want to derive pleasure. But many people in Africa today, they want to derive pleasure from having children. That's why they have children. They want to be pregnant because they are worshiping their desires. They are idol worshippers. So those children become troublesome, or they die, or they become sick, or because they took them as instruments as to fulfill their own desires, or they die.
It's like these children, they are not human beings.
Yeah,
it's not about them at all.
They're like objects. We have another video. Let's have a look at another video. Thank you. Let's have a look at another video. Here we go. That will also help us to get the topic home.
Jack Gleeson is the actor who plays King Joffrey on Game of Thrones. And in November of 2013, he talked about how
I saved the city. I won the war.
I hate him and love him at the same time because he's such a good actor. But his character is so despicable.
Loathsome, yeah.
He's like the worst, yeah. Well, he says that he is kind of tired of being a celebrity, so after Game of Thrones is over, he plans on retiring. Well, at first I didn't really believe that he was going to end up retiring, but you know what?
First of all, he's what is he, 13?
I don't know how old he is.
You can't retire, okay?
You
can stop acting, but you can't retire. Like, when you say I'm retiring and you're him, you're kind of a putz. Then just do it, but don't give me nobody 21 retires from anything.
Yeah.
You just do something else, which he's free to do.
Right. I'm sure he will do something else as well, or else he wouldn't be more. Right. I know, but that's usually what athletes and actors say. He's not the only one. This isn't an isolated
No athlete retires at 21.
Right.
They get cut.
They do get cut. All right. Well, he was at Oxford Union. He was giving a speech, and he was talking about how he hates the obsession with celebrities. Take a look.
People suddenly wanted to take pictures of me on the streets, and journalists were interested in what kind of socks I preferred, and among certain groups of my peers, my jokes seemed to become a lot funnier, which perhaps was all the comedy books I was reading at the time, or perhaps it was sycophancy, I don't know. America's capitalism bore out a commodity-based society in which the actions of the individual could be equated with acts of consumption. Tabloids, talk shows, and subsequently reality television all became obsessed with the commodification of the celebrity image, making it consumable and then ultimately disposable. What's ironic is that you see celebrities endorsing things like musical tampons and appearing in advertisements for lavender-scented teeth whitener or something, wielding goods whose sell-by dates are, ironically probably outlast theirs.
Has he ever shaved?
I don't know.
And why is he reading?
Yeah, he seemed surprised at what he was saying in some words, right? Like the whole musical tampon thing. He was like, musical tamp.
And he's reading it like an actor, like he's reading it like he did a nice job of making it seem like he just thought of musical tampons.
Yeah.
It's written down right there. You're reading it. You didn't just think of it.
So what do you think about what he had to say? Like this obsession that we have with celebrities and everything they do, and how they get used.
That's it. Maybe you people don't understand what's going on here. What's going on here is that a celebrity, a star, is a big star in America. What's the name of the Game of Thrones? There is something they call Game of Thrones in America, a film, I guess. And this was the star of that Game of Thrones. And he just woke up one day after becoming so famous, and it was at the peak of his fame. He just came up one day and turned his back and said, I'm leaving Hollywood. I'm living the celebrity lifestyle. I'm living the industry. I'm living, movie. I'm living acting. They said, what happened? He said, because I've always wanted this all my life. I was obsessed by the desire to be famous, to be popular, to have success. But now that I have the success and I have the fame, it's shocking me. You see, that is when somebody is idolized the desire. Not a woman now, not a husband, not a child, but the desire. Sometimes we idolize our desires, our pleasure, the desire for pleasure. That's why people in Hollywood kill, drink, become drug addicts, alcoholic addicts. That's why divorces, all kind of catastrophe is happening there. Why? Because those are people who mostly idolize their pleasure or their desires, and they get the opposite. And I think you understand the reason why. So, because irrational love to a husband leads to fear of losing him. He could leave or hate or die. It is caused by the wife because whatever, or the husband, because whatever we love irrationally, we wish to retain or don't wish to lose. So we become dependent on it or controlling until the opposite happens. So you begin to hate because it failed you. Or if you can't retain it, you begin to hate it. The more tied you are to a child, the more the possibility of that child hating you, or that profession, or that job, or that desire, or that pleasure, or running away from you eventually. Death is another possibility, and we saw that in the beginning today. That place of love belongs only to God. No one should replace God. No one should replace God. That's why love turns to hate. Irrational love turns to hate. The first and second commandment is all about this. It is for our own protection. So when God tells us to love the Lord thy God with all thy heart, it is for our protection. And then love people, it is also our protection. But not self. If you just love yourself, you will kill yourself. If you love somebody else other than loving God first, you kill that person and you kill yourself too. If you love something else rather than God, that desire will kill you. You destroy yourself. I think I will just open the ground now. I think I will just open the line for a call. What is the latest book that we have? Kingdom of Love? Okay. Yeah, I could have other places, but I think we should just let the calls come in now. So if you want to call, the way to call is go to Facebook Messenger. Facebook Messenger, Move Agents. Matic, Move Agents. Facebook Messenger, Move Agents. Matic. Facebook Messenger, Move Agents. Facebook Messenger, Move Agents. Oh, by the way, we are starting another class.